Honor, respect, and gratitude. Welcome of the Sun live stream. We're here with LaOta of the Sun. How you feeling today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I'm having a marvelous day.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to hear. So let's give our people a moment or two to roll in. Get the chat live and open. I know there's a little latency delay as well. I've been doing my research. You can speed up how quick the comments come in, how delayed, depending on the activity. And it's fun doing this live stream. And for me personally, it's always been a thing where there are conversations that you and I have that the public doesn't necessarily have exposure to, and we get to live that out on the live stream. And so you're getting authentic conversation, hence why we're laughing and we're joking, but we're serious and in the truth, and a nice mixture here. And so, anything in particular that you want to speak about? Just kind of get the ball rolling before we jump into our session.
I'd like to talk about our upcoming events for the new season of August and what happens after that.
Yeah, so we have a lot going on.
Yeah,
A lot going on. So you're teaching your one mind class
I
coming up.
am. I'm excited.
That's right. You mind sharing with them a little bit about one mind?
One line is a prerequisite for our property clearing classes, as it is necessary to understand in the scheme of things that you are part of everything. And not, and this time, we'll be expanding it a little bit beyond just the fact that you are part of everything to the opportunity for you to get quiet and be able to speak to things and have the opportunity to begin practicing hearing them speak back to you. So
Yes.
that's going to be exciting. And I have not taught it that way before.
Ooh, you get that fresh. And this is the cool thing about the Sun. The classes are never quite the same. There's always a difference and a uniqueness, and that's life, right? Everything isn't like
Ever
the perfect
expanding,
orange.
ever growing,
Yeah.
never the same. We're doing something different every time.
And this is interesting because a lot of people feel the consciousness of things, but aren't trained on how to formally communicate and open their perception too clearly here. Did I hear that? And most of the time they're getting it, but there's doubt and disbelief of what they're getting. And I understand that you'll be helping navigate, dispel that, and kind of give them the ABCs one, two, threes to fortify. Now you won't just be waving and saying hi to trees. You'll hear them, "Hey, yeah, we've seen you. What's up?" It's just a constant conversation going on with everything within our reality.
And it's even more interesting because everything knows we're of the sun.
That's a
The
whole
birds
nother story.
know, the bugs know, the second dimension knows, the third dimension
Yeah,
knows, and the higher realms know.
that's even when you out of state, because all consciousness is one consciousness. It's the thing, you
Because
all.
everything is one mind.
That's right. We got a couple of people rolling in. Inlakesh and Veritas, for those who are joining into the chat. We got Inlakesh Studio in the house. Dancing Lady, what's
Yes.
up? Stephanie of the Sun, Inlakesh and Veritas. Stacy, Inlakesh, Cassidy, Sunshine emojis, heart, heart.
Yay.
Misha, hey y'all. Feeling like I know you, Misha. Yana, greetings from California. Greetings, Yana. Welcome. Kay is in the house. Inlakesh. And then we got Cecilia, Inlakesh and
Yay.
Veritas. Welcome, welcome. And as more people roll in, I want to share with you all what our topic is. And before we go into our topic, we'll be going over just a couple of different announcements, some cool things going on. So today's topic, we're going into the idea of DNA activation and reconnection, but specifically your spiritual antenna, being able to connect with the higher realms, and how the process of DNA activation helps facilitate that. And we're going to hash it out. We're going to go into what's needed, because it's more than just let me listen to something or get somebody to activate me, then I'm good. Like, what actually is the process for what we understand through LaOta's developmental process and her research and working with her guidance? She has seen that there's a component that people aren't teaching about called replication of the DNA. Once they have their DNA activated, then it's incumbent upon the individual to replicate that, and people aren't replicating, so the DNA is not DNAing. The DNA. So we're gonna get into that, but before we do, just a couple of different things that are happening. We have so in companion to the one mind class, we have DNA activation, And that's one of the reasons why we're holding this live stream. As you know, we use the live stream as an opportunity to promote and inform you of our classes, but we want to dive into certain concepts pertaining to it and just go deep, gain some treasure, and swim back up to the surface. So DNA activation will be kicking off in the second week of August. So will One Mind Reconnection. Let me get that calendar up just to make sure we're clear for everybody. Tuesday, August 12th, 19th, and 26th, One Mind with LaOta. Wednesday, August 13th, 20th, and 27th, DNA Activation with myself. You can find these on the Other Sun website. The link is in the description. It'll take you there, along with a variety of other events and classes that we have going on. So, for example, we have Diane of the Sun in Lakesh Studio One, BKA Dancing Lady, better known as, and she has her Evolutionary Book Club, and this is usually every first Friday of the month, and so that's tomorrow. There's a link in the description if you want to join, and the book that we're focused on is Power versus Force. This is very classic recommended reading material from Of the Sun. The Quantum Light Property Clearing class that LaOta curated, she utilized the David Hawkins' Power versus Force book as a reference for people learning how to work with their body's intelligence, for just using it for discernment. Is this apple good for me? Is that hot dog good for me? Right? Etc. Etc. But also to understand that there is a map of consciousness and all things can be calibrated, consciousness included. So it's a really great book, very thick read, but we're going to be diving into it tomorrow, 6 p.m. You can find the link in the description, but also just visit In Lakesh Studio One, INLAKESH Studio, ONE.com. I did that. I spelled In Lakesh from memory. It's like, okay. And then what else do we have? So we're also kicking off Light Body. Light Body movement starts first Sunday of the month. That's August 3rd, this upcoming Sunday.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're diving into the heart. And what's interesting about that, especially for those who are looking, well, I actually want to preface, if you have been with us watching in the background, I like what they're doing, but I don't know if I want to jump in the pool in the ocean of the sun. Join in, the water's warm, feels really good. And the cool thing about the light body movement is, well, in general, we are activating our light. Many people are beginning to see the light on themselves and others. People in their outside experience, it's like, wow, you're glowing. It's a real palpable thing. It shows up in many different ways. But truly, this is an ascension process where we are resuscitating the original blueprint and in the most practical ways, where there's tangible results and a shift and upgrade in our consciousness, which this goes simultaneously with DNA activation because it's all one thing. But in the light body movement, this upcoming session, we are moving into the heart space, which is a unification of divine feminine and divine masculine energies. And so we're so excited about this, and there's so many different things that I would like to share, but just join us, so you can click the link in the bio, or you can just go to the Other Sun website. You'll see it on there. And then also what's cool is that anybody who joins, you have access to every previous month's recording. It's so important that if you're in it and at whatever point you jump into it, you got to build that foundation. We've moved through the root, the sacral, solar plexus. Now we're in the heart, and we're building up. You got to start from there and build up, and we're moving all the way to the crown, and you think it's going to stop there, but wait, there's more. There will be more. But this is a process, so we're excited about it. Also, LaOta's monthly self-healing talk will be at the fourth Sunday of the month. This is on the 24th, which this is also part of the Light Body movement. So if you're signing up for Light Body, you have access to her monthly class, which is pretty cool because you get to ask questions to her directly, in a private session with a group of people talking about world events. So a lot of people have been seizing that opportunity. It's $25 for the session, but if you pay $45 for the Light Body, you get to hang out with us an hour and a half, 4 times out of the week. I'm just saying, makes sense. So outside of that, I got one last announcement before we jump in, and it looks like we got a couple more people who have joined us. Lakesh and Veritas Biopello, Russ is in the house, and Lakesh and Veritas, Madame Noir, and Lakesh and Veritas, OTS family, Heart, Fire, Flame. That's right, Fire. So we are doing a raffle, not necessarily the Other Sun Live, but we have a separate live stream that's on Saturdays, High Frequency Living, which is run by Ahad of the Sun. And as a matter of fact, if you haven't checked out the pop-up meditations that he's doing, and I do mean pop-up. I don't know that they're every day, but I guarantee you at 12 noon, something's gonna pop up. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and he'll be guiding you or playing pre-recorded guided meditation audios. And he actually recently featured Diane of the Sun from Illuminated Studio in there, and they were going in for an hour. And usually he's like, "No, I'm just here for 15 minutes, 20 minutes." I looked at that timestamp, like an hour, and it was good vibes, good times over there, talking about Ho'oponopono, quantum light property clearing, soul translation, different modalities. And so this high frequency living, the live streams are officially every Saturday at 7 p.m. And they're doing a raffle for a class, one of the introductory classes. This could be DNA activation class. This could be one mind reconnection class.
That's right.
Literally, that's a $300 value. In order to get into the raffle, a $25 scholarship donation being made will enter you into that raffle. And we'll do that thing, and custom selection and or random selection, and you can be the lucky person, or maybe it was divinely meant for you to jump into the class. But this is again to give a person an opportunity. And if there's someone who's like, you know what, I want to donate to Of the Sun, donate. Send something in there's a little super chat. You can send some money if you want to send something to us for just to show a token of your gratitude. Or if you have the desire to pay it forward, which a few people have, they're like, here, I'm sending you something, pay it forward so someone can enter the class. Feel free to do that as well. And so the link's in the bio, and you can also find that on the scholarship donation section of the website. Our announcements are over.
Before you completely close the announcements, I'd like to share with everyone a little bit about the reason we're doing Light Body. It is we don't know who we are. Who we are luminous biophotonic beings, and we have lost touch with that. Some of us have been working on our light bodies for a long time, and they are up and running, and they can be seen. And we want to make sure that we offer what we have learned to everyone, because it is necessary. Unless you like this world we're living in and would like to keep it, we're going to need to be new, and we're going to need the light, and we're going to need each other. We're going to need each other. We're going to need the masculine's going to need the feminine's going to need the masculine. We're going to need Mother Earth. We're going to need all the things here, and we're going to need the light to power that. So we're going to be talking about world events during one of the weeks. We're going to be working on our light bodies, and you are encouraged to dedicate yourself to practices so that you can be more than a recipient, a listener, so that you can actually become activated. And we encourage you to join us, and the rest of humanity for that matter, so that we can make the new man in the new world. So we hope you'll join us.
Well, certainly. So again, welcome everyone. Lisbeth, Julianne, Gina, welcome to the chat, to the live stream. So today we're talking about DNA activation, resuscitating the endocrine system, getting your spiritual antenna function. Remember the antenna on the TV? You get the aluminum foil because the signal's not right. Our signal is janky. We have issues here on the planet with hearing our guidance, communicating with other forms of life. We angry with insects. there is a disconnect, and so this idea of DNA activation, I want to know where. Well, I was going to say, where would you like to start? I know you always like to say in the beginning. So, LaOta, will you take us to the beginning of the necessity of DNA activation, and then I'm sure we'll find our way throughout this beautiful journey to our end goal.
I seldom speak about the level of intelligence of the science in our world, but I'm going to. I'm going to speak about the fact that our scientists know, and we have all been taught that we were originated, our blueprint had 12 strands of DNA. And it is clear that we do not have 12 strands of DNA. We have 2. We have been tampered with. We are genetically modified. It is not just the grapes. It is us too. We are genetically modified beings. And one of the moments in time that I became aware of was in the 90s. It became the harmonic conversion was very popularized in the metaphysical community. And it was this idea of planetary alignment that brought an opening to humanity where some of the things that have been done to us could be corrected. So at that time, many went into meditation. I was one of them. And we received information that may have played out over time at different varying levels of astuteness. After that time, information began seeping out through books and private groups and groups of psychics that there was an opportunity to get back our DNA, that it could be reconnected. And what that meant was that the original human had in their brain a place where there was a connection for all of the DNA. But because it had been severed, and there's a great deal of information that proves this, especially if you look at Indian temples and Indian history, you see, and in the text they talk about the genetic engineering.
Yeah, it's all
very documented and quite well known. And to change that, it is possible because our divine blueprint could not be erased, but we could be disconnected from it. So through our will to have it, which weaponizes us, just the fact that we have the will to be connected. And then there were a variety of different people in the 90s who were coming forward with information from other planetary systems and from other guidance, showing that humanity had this opportunity. So I was one of the people who was really fascinated by that idea and pursued many different methods of having my DNA reconnected. And we even recommend a book called DNA in the Sands of Time, which I'm not saying is a Bible, and everything in there I am not vouching for. But it in general does show us what happened and what the history of the world was. And so I found that book at that time, and it's still recommended reading for us. And it showed us dietary examples of what could do. The body has to be brought back to a level of working purity for the connections to be made. And then there has to be this willingness that weaponizes the soul to want to put together the severed pieces. And then the process of calling in the galactic beings and the angels who help us with this process. So I went through it, I did it, and I felt the connection. I felt the elevation. And then several months later, I didn't anymore. Yes. So then
disconnected.
I got the book, and I took many months to bring my dietary condition to the place where I thought, okay, that's it. I'll adhere better if my material could adhere better. And I did it again, and I felt the lift, and I was more connected, and I was getting more cosmic information, and then I fell out of it again.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Yes.
Basically.
So I did it a third time, and at that time, a book had been written about it, and the numbers were magical. It was going to cost $333 to have it done.
Those angel numbers again. They be getting you with them angel numbers.
And this is in the 90s, and so I paid again. And I asked the person who was doing it. I could feel the connection. What was taking place was actually taking place. She felt it. I felt it. I felt her feeling me feel it. I mean, it was like it was really going on. And I asked her a question. She says, "Well, I can't answer any questions about it, but I can do the process. But I can't answer anything." And I again became just really obsessed with the idea of learning more about it. So over the course of 3 or 4 years of study and research and spending $333 many times, I began to be able to get information concerning what should happen and why and how. So we were disconnected. The opportunity for humanity to be connected and has now been in our field for a long time, and it is much easier. The more people who are connected makes it easier for people to be connected. And this is one of the results of it. So having your DNA connected now is a much more solid process than it was when it was first being made popular. And the idea is that we are disconnected. The reason our 10 strands were taken is because then we would have been who we would have been as the gods. You know, the ones who came here and everybody said, you must be a god. And they're like, yeah, that's right. You know, I don't know if they came here with that intent, but I think the humans who were walking around they were like, yeah, that's what I am. And so we would have been like them, which in fact they were just other creations from other places.
Yeah.
And they disconnected us so that we would not be on the same par with them. And it made us operate with less of our faculties and less of our physical understandings. So when we reconnect, we start to recognize that we are greater and we have more communication. So over many years, I've been doing this for many years, and some people, when they get reconnected, have amazing expansions in their ability to get information. Some people don't. Some people don't feel anything, and some people have nothing. Some people see the DNA engineers, some people don't. Some people feel it, some people don't. There's a whole range of activities, but it is taking place. It's real and it's taking place, and it may kick in that night or it may kick in 6 weeks later.
Look, let me tell you, my DNA activation, the effects was I quit my job. I separated from a relationship of 4 years. We're 2 years in. We knew it was over, but you know, you just stay in because time investment. I ended up moving across the country. It catapulted me into a different experience.
I'm actually wanting to ask you to share with our audience how you found me, because that's how you found me.
Yes. So through my own research and discoveries, my conclusion was very similar to LaOta's, where you realize, okay, humanity's not operating as we were designed, and there were groups of beings who came in, saw an opportunity, and disconnected us. Now, the narrative is a little different depending on what lens you're looking through, but the reality is off-world visitors,
And we all
tampering.
agree we only got 2 strands of DNA.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then
all
like
the
it's
end
dropped
result
like
is we only got
something
2.
off, something way off. And I began to pursue looking for a practitioner because my understanding was that there are a variety of different ways to activate the DNA, and I'd like you to discuss that a little bit more. But I saw that there was the understanding of cosmic energies and the collective consciousness, like things are being stimulated within us. I saw like YouTube videos of people playing bowls and things like, we're gonna activate your DNA with these sound bowls or these solfeggio tones, and I'm like, I don't feel nothing. This ain't really doing. This ain't doing it. This ain't it. And but I began to see that there were practitioners across the world who facilitated the activation, and I was searching, and I came across LaOta, and it was the authenticity. You know, when you feel it in your soul, like that's the one, that's it right there. And prior to that, I had no real experience with working with practitioners. So even in the face of the skepticism, there was still the resonance of, you need to go see her. And so I did. And then everything that I said happened after, like, my eating habits completely changed. I was already shifting, but it accelerated. But it's also as though the DNA activation at that time removed the rug that was under my feet that revealed a bunch of incongruent things. And so it was a process, it was an unfoldment, and I could even see then where my replication was not adhering as best because, and I'd like you to speak on this when you're ready. I was not adhering to a higher dimensional reality or
Right.
experience through managing my thoughts. And it's not that I wasn't managing my thoughts, but there's a level of intensity that one must operate in to sustain that level of elevation. And so I began to see that throughout the years. And, fast forward of working with you over the years, I have had the honor of having the baton pass. It's very poetic. I found you, DNA, and like, you are now knighted DNA activator with the assistance of our allies. And so it's a very beautiful story. And even more now, I see the necessity of what you saw in your journey with replication and just how integral it is with the DNA and the overall endocrine system.
But we haven't even actually talked about the idea, the DNA connection is one thing. You can be connected in a session with a practitioner and be permanently connected, but it's not the connection that is relevant in the overall scheme of your life. Replication is what's relevant. Can you replicate the strands? You're connected, so you're connected to your etheric portion of where the 12 strands were. It's absolutely necessary. But if you're not replicating those strands, you still have 2 strands of DNA.
Yeah.
So there's more than one thing in the process.
I also want to add to that, and your experience will reflect it.
Yes.
You will know if you're having a higher dimensional experience or not.
It becomes very clear to you, and it means many things can open and happen for you. So when a person, most humans think, oh, I read that on the internet, I can just go do it. That would be true if all of the other things were also true. So if your diet was pristine, if you were working on clearing heavy metals and parasites and all levels of toxins from you, and your will were strong enough and you knew what you were asking for, that's possible. But it is appropriate to know that the connecting process is something that is doable, and many people can do that now. Where the elevation, the opportunity for elevation is that in replicating, you must learn to be at a frequency that's higher than where most humans are. The reason that we stayed disconnected is the process of having taken away from us dropped us from one level of consciousness, dropped us to one level of consciousness from which we could not connect. So we were here, they took the 10 strands, we dropped here, and we couldn't find our way back up the ladder. So there has to be concerted effort to watch how you speak, to be careful whether you're condemning, to be careful whether you're complaining, to make sure you're not in competition with everyone, that you don't have to win every conversation, that there's no win. Why don't we just have a conversation and we both win? Like, why don't, like that. And so almost every experience that people have with their children, their partners, their friends, has a little edge of something in it. That's what, that edge that's in there keeps you from replicating. So to replicate your strands, you have to be at a frequency where that may take place, which brings you back again to remembering to bring yourself to the level that you were before it was taken away from us. So that's a practice and an understanding and a clarity. You lose nothing, you gain everything.
So you mean to tell me we can't just fast food this? We can't just let me pay them $444, that $333, activate me, and I'm there. We got to put in the work.
The drive-through window is closed. That everything that we do, every single thing we do requires you to undo the thing that got you to the point where you wanted to do it. The part of your life that drove you to go do something else, we have to undo that part. And so that's your thinking, that's your programming, that's your family, that's your ancestry. So we want to make sure that we're giving you high vibrational thoughts to think instead of the thoughts you're thinking that may be a detriment to you. You look in the mirror You don't love who you see. You don't love the face you've been wearing for a millennia. You don't like what's going on. There's something wrong with that. You can't replicate strands from there.
So let's speak a little more succinctly on purification, because everything you're saying is essentially that, like how the self-talk, how you engage with other people in conversation, what you eat, and the environments we expose ourselves to, what we watch. Um, I feel, not just feel, but I have seen that in most cases, humans don't, especially humans who are on the spiritual path, it's also as though we don't have full context of the condition that we're in. Where it's almost like a delusion thinking that we are doing something when we're really not. It's just like, let me play these solfeggio tones, my DNA is activated, that's it, I'm there, right? Like, would you speak on just how necessary purification is, and even like certain levels of intensity that may seem almost uncomfortable for people to stretch towards, but
It
necessary?
really depends. We all understand cleanliness is a good thing. We all know that we want a clean kitchen and a clean bathroom, and we would like to live in clean areas. We don't always realize that everything we have touched, eaten, or slept with has its own residual information, and that we may need to purify ourselves, which is always possible, from not only the heavy metals and the GMO and all of that, but we may need to purify ourselves from our lineage, from how our families have behaved. How do they talk to us? How do we speak to our children? How do we allow other people to speak to us? Do we need to, are people talking to us and we're wondering, like, did they mean to talk to me that way? Did they mean to say
Yeah.
that?
Who you talking to? No, you look over the shoulder and you don't know. I know you're not talking to me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel you.
that level of understanding, which is very in our world, or where
Normalize.
people think they own us, or they think that we're here just to please them, or where there are demands being made upon us that are not we're not willing to fulfill, and maybe not willing to tell them, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That all of that is available for purification.
So this is vast.
Yes, it is vast, and for spiritual exaltation and obtainment, levels of purity do need to exist. And wherever you are, there's an opportunity to be higher. That's why we teach you call for the highest possible vibration. Wherever you are, if you got a Snickers bar in your hand and you're about to eat it, you can raise yourself up above that experience.
Do you remember when there was a podcast that you did and you were talking about eating hot dogs and somebody commented in the chat and said, "Oh my gosh, LaOta, I was eating a hot dog when you said that." That was so funny. It just came to mind when you said, "Pick up the Snickers," because there's some part of me that's like, man, I hope none of you all are out there eating the Snickers like that. At least because if you're on this line, there's this part of us that, let me know if this is accurate. We're coming to a time, or in a time where, like, there's certain things that are just not ideal to engage with. Like, if you still eat McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, I don't know if your DNA is going to be activated.
I think of it a little differently. I think that wherever you are, whatever steps you make count. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you in India, what they call a slumdog, if you are wherever you are, I've lived in Africa, I've been in the bush, I know what it's like in emerging countries. My view is broader. Wherever you are, whatever your condition, your will to be better weaponizes you and gives you the opportunity for the room to be made for you.
So let me speak on that. So this is more, thank you for it, because I'm looking at it now in a more holistic, spherical, instead of like the one-dimensional. Not justifying eating McDonald's or Chick-fil-A, but the idea of there are many things in
Yes.
many areas that require
Yes.
purification, and as long as we're moving forward or focusing on something to progress or to expand,
Yes.
that adds to the pot, essentially, right?
Yes, because we are aspects of divinity. You know, we're still playable characters.
Yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
can still be seen on the board. We're still light beings, and we're eternal. There is no death. Wherever you start, you started. It's okay. You know, wherever you find yourself, maybe it's because of you chose parents so that you would be challenged, so you could be the hero in this story. I mean, I know enough to know everybody doesn't have the same story, and it's not always what you think. Sometimes people choose something extremely challenging because they're overachievers. You know, sometimes they don't. So whatever the situation is that from that point, once you decide to make yourself more of who you actually are, to return back to your blueprint, you win. You've already won. How far you go depends on how much time you have in this lifetime and what your current condition is. And it doesn't even matter if you exit this lifetime because maybe your material is exhausted from the things you've done. It still goes into the pot. You're born again and you're ahead of the game. There's no downside to exaltation and elevation and attainment. You win, you win, you win. So wherever a person is, whatever their willingness is, it must be genuine willingness to want to be greater. So if you don't have but that much, that much can get you that much. That much can get you that much. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's this compounding effect. As long as we're making the effort, taking the
Yes.
action, growth is growth.
Growth
so to
is
say.
growth, and life is lifing.
Indeed it is.
And then you're in accord with creation. Creation and consciousness is life. So get in the game. You do need to get in the game.
Well, that's a different perspective where
You got to get in the
if
stadium.
you're not making choices for life, if it's just living a predominantly anti-life
Yeah.
lifestyle, and that's I'm looking at it that way now, where we are contaminated. You know, the very realities that we live in, the environments, the EMFs, lights, everything, right? But I'm looking at it like a ratio. You know, how much of us is actually stretching towards life, moving out of that. So it's landing for me in that sense. Would you?
I'd like to give you a different perspective. What if we all volunteered to come here to be challenged because we all are overachievers?
I actually subscribe to that. I know that, bro.
So
You signed up for this
what
wild
if
thing.
you're a secret overachiever who came to Earth to start the new human and the new world at this particular time, and you just got the memo?
Whose story are you telling? She's telling our story, everybody. It's not just, and if I may, I think that this is the story of many of the souls who resonate with this information. There's varying levels of embodiment of it, but it's still the same, like something new to add to the equation. And you got a bunch of information from the past of all the cool things that you've done to prepare you for this time. Just like you were saying, you know, everything adds to the pot. And so I kind of want to shift gears to sustaining levels of power and connecting with the higher realms.
May I offer one more idea before we leave that topic completely? That whatever you do can carry over. There is no death. Everything carries over to the next experience. Everything serves the plan. This is not our plan. This is the universal plan. This is the plan from the one mind. This is a plan that I didn't start and you didn't start, but we were in agreement with it.
Playable characters.
And what happens is that because of that, you continue your story. So if you exit, if you expire in a flood or a fire or something happens wherever you were in your process, you now are ahead of the curve, so to say, if you've been working on yourself. There's nothing lost in obtainment. That's why they call it obtainment. Yeah.
I like that.
You get to retain and have it forever.
It's part of you.
You don't have to try to stay alive, right? Nobody stays alive.
In your record, in the Akasha, as you often say.
Yeah. May my record show. Let my record show. I'll judge me by my record. That's that idea.
Yeah. So I know one of the, and I actually want to start getting to some comments and questions. There's 2 questions in the chat soon. I know one of the ideas that you wanted to bring forth was communicating with the higher realms, the spiritual antenna that we have. Would you expound? What is it that you want us to understand about that?
The calibration that I have and understanding I have is that most 2-strand third dimensional beings who are in the reincarnational cycle are able to access about 30% of what is available to us from the 100% or greater, which it's greater, that we can get about 30% in our current condition. So when we connect our DNA and begin to purify and replicate, more information becomes available. Knowledge is power.
So I want to go a little deep into that before we move forward. So when you say 30% of what's available, would this be considering like insight from our guidance, our capacity to hear, our ability to even uptake light?
Depending on your...
Like what does that look like?
Depending on the vehicle you're in, depending on the type of body you have and what your expression is, its availability to be in harmony with divine communication or transmissions resonates at about 30%. And then it gets higher depending on your will to do so, your ability to stay in the high frequencies and the levels of purity. That's really it. But there's no end to that.
Because it just keeps getting louder and louder and clearer and clearer.
Well, and the planet is, there's no opportunity on this planet to avoid the toxicity.
True.
But unless you're busy cleaning and clearing and calling in guidance to help you at the deeper levels. So we are contaminated at the atomic level.
Yeah.
So.
As deep, pun intended.
Yeah. So did I answer?
Yeah, most certainly. It speaks very succinctly to it. And even that idea of purification, which you just left off on the necessity, in order to increase the uptake higher, you have to be more pure the higher you go, especially in relation to the current environments.
And there's another point that many people overlook because it's bothersome. It's a troubling little...
All right. Brace yourself to be triggered.
Yes.
You're going to be all right. Just breathe through it. Call for the highest possible vibration. Get above it right now.
So there's this annoyance that the body represents I say it often, the body keeps score. Mm-hmm. So the body represents the ability for us to connect. We cannot ignore the body. We can't pretend like, yeah, my body's jacked up, but I'm still there. That's just not a process. That's not a thing. The body is the representation of everything that has been thought, of the record. Yes, yes. It is the record. It is the Akasha of what is going on. So we must address that aspect if we want to address the rest. We can't pretend that if you're diseased, that you're still able to bring in the information at the level that you would be able to if you were pristine. It's just not true. Yeah. Because it has to go through the dirt. It has to go through the toxins. It has to go through the poison.
That visual right there, I think is, for me, it really helps understanding that we're pulling in light.
Yes.
And the light literally has to move through.
Right.
And I think about an artery, that's clogged and has the colon walls with a bunch of debris, and light can't pass through. Only so much can pass through if it's jammed up and dammed up with debris.
This is physical reality. The physical matters.
So it's not all just spiritual. I can't just.
This is physical reality.
Just,
Physical counts.
Yeah, that sounds like balance to me, though. That sounds like, Anchor, balance of
But so
masculine
I
and
know
feminine.
that might be triggering.
It is because most
Yeah.
people want to be in the delusion with it. From my perspective, that's in the same pot of I play these solfeggio beats or tones. My DNA's activated. I don't got to do nothing but put my earbuds in.
I don't really have anything to
I
say
know
about
it's
that
okay.
level.
You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just making a comment where there's it's I see it's important to clear ourselves of delusion and to call forth clarity and really to call for the truth. I think that when we call for the truth, we get to see these levels of incongruencies that this doesn't match with going with this. I will say this, like, I've been fasting for a while, and being in the fasted state really has helped me see more grave incongruencies. Like, oh, this thought, this program, this don't align with where you say you're going. Let's control alt delete, Like the reality is that there are things that we cannot carry into the higher realms to exist in the higher realms, or else we would be there. That's it's just the facts, like you say. It's almost like ABC 1 2 3 spiritually.
Yes, but it's inconvenience, an inconvenient fact in a world where it requires effort to stay clean.
Yes,
It requires effort
immense.
to not cuss people out. It requires effort. It requires effort to think, highly vibrational about things that are going on around you.
I feel you because let me maintain my pace. That's so
It
funny.
might require people to calm themselves just to listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Are you
So.
triggered yet? Trigger alert.
And
Remember
we
to say
got
that
triggers
again.
in the chat.
Yeah, true. You got, you done triggered the dancing lady. That's what got triggered. Dancing lady is giving us the signal. All right, so this is what we're gonna do, you all. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break. Stay with us. We got 30 people live right now. We want to thank you all for joining us. This is a really good conversation. We trust that you're being expanded. We're saying things that people usually don't say, and yes, it's triggering. The truth is triggering, especially when it's bumping up against your programming. So we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. 40 seconds from our sponsors, Aluka, and we'll return back. Go to this chat. We got a couple of comments and questions. Some of them are rather interesting. I think they are worth sharing. And then we can wrap up here.
Okay, yes. Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Stay with us, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to 93.1 of the Sun, where we're bringing you nothing but the hits this evening. All right.
If you're a conscious investor looking to make a difference, you need to hear about Aluka Gold. Because doing good and doing well isn't just a dream, it's our promise. Let's face it, everyone wants their money to work harder. But what if your gold investment could do double duty? Aluka Gold is more than just precious metal. We're committed to ethical sourcing and total transparency so you know exactly where your gold comes from, and who it helps. Every ounce you invest helps support real miners and their communities with humanitarian projects and fair wages. That's not just good business, it's good for the world. You get solid, physical gold, plus the pride of knowing your investment brings hope and opportunity to families who need it most. So why settle for ordinary returns when you can spark extraordinary change? Invest with purpose. Invest with Aluka Gold. Do good, do well, and let your gold investment shine brighter than ever.
All right, welcome back, welcome back. We want to give a shout out and great thanks to our sponsors, Aluka Gold. You can visit them at Aluka Inc., ALLUCA Inc.com. Shout out to the founder, CEO, Alex. We see you in Dubai. You're doing great things. We appreciate you. And we have Russ Goldstein, who is also the director of business development. He's often in the chat, in the live stream, dropping scientific musings and inlocution and veritas in us as well. If you're looking into wealth asset protection, tax mitigation, things of that nature, you can visit them. They specialize in this, and they are also sponsors. They are of the Sun.
Yes.
These are people who are in the money and wealth financial sector, but they're also activating light body. They're practicing no criticizing, condemning, complaining. Trying not to curse people out in them business meetings. Trying to stay balanced. They're working in progress too, and they support us. So we thank you all. And so we're back. And one last thing, I want to give one more announcement, especially because we have more people here. We're doing a raffle giveaway. So also we have a live stream on Saturday with High Frequency Living. That's with LaOta of the Sun, Ahad of the Sun, her literal son of the sun, right? And this is a very down to earth, relaxed conversation about family stuff, and how to not curse people out, what she was saying, how to live high frequency within everyday situations pertaining to family. And we're doing a raffle giveaway. So we have upcoming classes: DNA Activation and Reconnection, One Mind Reconnection, and that's a $300 value, 3-day class. And to get into the raffle, we're giving one seat away to someone. In order to enter the raffle, $25 donation to our scholarship fund. We have a scholarship fund that we usually curate, people donate, and we pop someone into class so that they can activate. That all rhymed. That was cool. But if you want to get into this raffle, go to the Levelson website to the scholarship section. There's also a link in the description. Donate $25. That'll get you in. And we're going to run that raffle, and you too could be someone within this activated class. Now, the key is this: the announcement for the winner of the raffle will be announced on the live stream for High Frequency Living. So High Frequency Living is on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And just in case, make sure you hit that bell notification so you know when we go live. That way you can find out if you won. So that wraps up these announcements, and we're back with questions from the chat. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. So let's see, I'm going to go back a little bit. There's quite a few comments here. So we got Julianne's asking, how can we speak to our DNA teams to upload our 10 strands through our light bodies and through our records and ground into a new earth while still living in the 3D matrix systems of fear and separation? Julianne's trying to do the most. She's trying to activate the strands. She's trying to talk to the guys. Julian's like, look, I got to run this through the records. I got to anchor this because we got to bring in the new earth. How do we do this in this jacked up planet?
Well, as Tarvars was sharing, that's how we met 13 years ago. Yeah. He came to have his DNA reconnected. We can take you through the process. It's a 1-hour group process where we have everyone is on the line. There's really nothing for you to do but relax. We take you through the process. We bring in the DNA genetic engineers. It is run through the Elohim angel system, and you have a visceral experience while it's going on. You go to sleep, you wake up, you're connected. The next day, you work on the cleanliness, you work on your elevation for the replication. And then you have the knowingness that it is so. And that lift backs the darkness off of you because you've taken a step. You have weaponized yourself by your will to do so. You have sacrificed by paying the fee. You have done all the things that make manifestation happen. You show up, you sacrifice, you have the will to do it. That's how things work.
I like to build on that purification part. And she's talking about how do I run the DNA through the light body. Purification through each center. Pure in our solar plexus, how we think about ourselves. Pure in our sacral, our desires, our pleasures. Pure in how we feel in terms of our safety, security. It literally translates up the dimensional ladder. And again, it's holographic. There's so many opportunities.
And the process itself of light body, truth, joy, and gratitude, that's the goal. Yeah, that's it.
Who would have thought that truth, joy, gratitude could open these centers up? It's simple, but it's so deep in terms of what. May I expound a little bit?
Yes.
Because, all right, I'm encouraging for anybody who's not part of Light Body, join us. You get these meditations and these activations, but truth clears the distortion. Joy amplifies the energy center. And gratitude, it locks it all in. I'm going to just stop there. Please continue.
The next step is that then you have the experience that those of us who've been doing this for a long time have. Our DNA is illuminated. It is the byproduct of that.
Yes.
My DNA is illuminated. And so the byproduct of doing these things is the illumination of the DNA, which now reaches out to all of these systems on this planet and otherwise. It is the touchstone for everything else that must happen. So join us at Light Body, because we could talk about this all day.
Yes, yes. We got a couple of people saying, I recommend, hold on, Essential Tribe. I don't know who Essential Tribe is, but I know that this is someone who's taken these classes because they keep promoting. Essential Tribe says the activation with the class is very powerful to continue the elevation. And then Essential Tribe says again, I recommend the Other Sun Frequency Waters class for purification. Yeah, that's a whole nother experience, but again, the frequency of purification and just the necessity, which in that class, purification, the frequency of purification was the foundation of uptaking courage and wealth within our bandwidth. So purification seems to be very foundational
And they
in
had an
terms of
activation as
elevation.
well. They
Yeah.
got the activation. So I would recommend, if you don't have anything else, get vibration, be the vibration, get the sentient, conscious water that you can ask it to do anything. You could ask it, start healing me. You can ask it, would you start connecting my DNA? Would you help me with my diet? Would you notify me if I'm eating something that's poison? The vibration water is conscious water on your behalf. It's essentially me in a bottle.
For real, for real. For real.
Yeah.
And there's people who like, I got my LaOta with me. Carrying that vibration everywhere.
That's your first aid. It's your
Yeah.
first aid, and it can help you through all of your activations. It can be an extra support to you while you're in your babyhood of this, to get you to the higher experiences.
Yes, yes. Thank you, LaOta. And that's, again, for Julianne. We trust that that has helped answer the question. And so we have, who was this? Malia, she says, I like to think, this was way back in the conversation, I like to think that we are all just on different levels of consciousness, and everyone always has the opportunity to ascend or descend levels. Yeah. I
It's
think
free
that's-
choice universe.
Yeah, you can do. or
However,
do-do-do-do.
most people don't recognize, because of the normality of the frequency of consciousness that the third dimension is at, they don't recognize whether they're ascending or staying where the third dimension is. In point of fact, we have already moved to the fourth dimension, which is the dimension of do no harm, but we're not there yet. Can you, if you think about it, even though you have free choice, do you recognize each thing you eat, each person you talk to? Is this going to do harm to me? Am I talking to my child? Will this do harm? Am I talking to myself in the mirror? Will this do harm to me? Am I getting in a car that's doing harm to me? Am I buying groceries that have peel on them, or is it doing harm to me? We've just entered that fourth dimension where it's do no harm, where we do no harm to ourselves first and then to others. So we don't always recognize, because we're not really cognizant of what it's like to be in a room where the paint is toxic, or live a place where the water is toxic, where we're doing harm inadvertently.
Yeah, without even knowing.
So we're not always in that level of consciousness, but we have the free will to choose to do better from wherever we are. And so it's true, but what is consciousness? You know, the idea of like, she's saying, I have the thought that consciousness, but what are you understanding? What is consciousness? Where does consciousness come from? Who gave us consciousness? What is it an extension of? It is life. We are always choosing life or death. It would be relevant for us to put it in those terms. Is this life? Is this person life for me, or is this person death for me? Is this food life for me? Is this food death for me? Is this job life for me? Or is it death? But we're always thinking, well, I need the money. I need to pay the rent. So are we actually choosing? So that's my point.
Yeah, and as usual, that's a very great tool for discernment for anyone. If you're like, oh, I don't hear my guidance, I don't know what to do, or I can't hear my body. Does this give me life? Is this anti-life, or does this give me death? I think that's simple enough for a child. If you're looking for the truth, it's a very easy, immediate answer or response.
Is lying, if I lie to somebody, a little white lie? Is that life or death?
You know, they'd be like, well, and the fact that you got to do that, you know what it is. You know what it is.
So there's varying levels and degrees, and it's okay wherever you are, as long as you're choosing to be free. Learn that this earth plane is to learn lessons. You are not wrong to make a mistake. That mistake may take you to the next right thing.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had some good mistakes. Some thank you mistakes. Getting me to where I find myself today. Gratitude, right? I just learned a new little technique. I could show the comments to really help. Kay says, overachiever is one of my primary gifts.
Yes. That's why you're here.
Yeah. Malia in here again. The story never ends. The soul is eternal, but the human body dies. LaOta, are you familiar with numerology? Do you know your life path number? So she's like, what's your sign, LaOta? What's your number? LaOta, what's your blueprint looking like? Malia's like, I want to get to know you.
Yes, I used to be very engaged with numerology. I find it to be extremely accurate, and I don't know that this is the forum to discuss my numbers. However, yes, I'm very I'm glad to meet another numerologist. That's also how lexicograms, part of the reason I'm so intrigued and have developed the lexigram classes is because of numerology.
Yes, yes.
They became one, and as I studied numerology, I became more interested in the letters because the letters all convert to numbers.
Yeah, I don't know if the people on the line are aware, but we have a numerology report service that's available where it's extremely extensive. One of the most extensive ones I've seen. It's over 80 pages where we generate a numerology report based off of your name. So the gematria, where the letters break down into the numbers, and it calibrate your path number, as Malia's talking about, and all the different numbers. It's super extensive, and I think one of my favorites have been the karmic path numbers. I had that on my whiteboard for I don't know how long because it was like all the things that you need to focus on, your karma. I was like, damn, to this day, I'm just starting to really get a grip on it.
I highly recommend the numerology report that we have because it's also instantaneous. You get it within minutes of, at least within the day, the same day that you order it. So it's immediate gratification. None of us tire of hearing about ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's a whole book. It's 80 pages. So you're encouraged to go to the website and get that numerology report.
Okay, we got Lakesh saying, be Bration water, heart. Kay said, talk that talk. I don't know what you said, but she's turned up. And Malia says, I love this. Malia's in the chat quite frequently. I love this. Excuse me. I love the is this life or death analogy because it's very simple yet puts things into a deeper perspective.
And we can use that with friends and lovers and family. I would, in fact.
For real. There's a lot of anti-life family members and friends who just, again, for the people who, that's so important, your environment, the people you surround yourself, are they supporting your growth and evolution, or are they pulling you back into do this thing? There's this one guy who I know who will always try to get me to eat and just debauchery. I was like, no, I can't do that. I'm trying to activate, and stay elevated. He's like, come on, man. So it's not hard. It's easy. And like you said, asking this with friends, family, food. This even speaks to what Julianne asked earlier. How can I integrate the strands through the life body? Making choices through that lens, if it's giving life. So.
And also asking yourself to have the strength to activate your no if no is needed. Someone says, you want to go to the movies? And you're like, no, I don't want to go. And they say, well, come on, go to the movies. And you say, okay. And then you go to the movie, like, I hate this movie. I hate this movie. So now
I did that. Are you telling my story?
Now you have dedicated 4 or 5 hours of your life to being in disagreement with self. And that affects your material every time you lie or agree or do something you don't really want to do, your material suffers.
I'm gonna
Your
talk on that.
muscles become weaker, your body, your brain becomes less cohesive, everything falls apart. Activate the truth within you. We call our podcast, Call for the Truth. Call for it within yourself, and then others will come and speak to you the truth as well.
All right, LaOta.
You're gonna tell the story.
You telling people my story. You done told them, but let me just say this. That was one of those good mistakes, because it taught me honor. You knew out the gate that's not for you. Why are you appeasing somebody else? And you didn't enjoy the movie, but not, and you knew ahead of time. And so, look, you were right. Honor yourself, honor your truth, you know. And so, maybe, like you said, some of the mistakes take us to the path of understanding that, okay, let me listen, let me discern, you know, let me make sure my spiritual antenna get that aluminum foil. So we're pretty much at the tail end, and we can start wrapping up here.
I want to just say one more thing is that we've been taught that we need to be in agreement. That's not necessarily true. We don't need to say yes to what we mean no to. We don't need to say, somebody says, would you like to? And you're like, sure.
Right? Like that glazy looking, sure. You know that look where you could feel there. It's not a yes. Sure. Anytime somebody says sure to me, I'm like, yes or no? Are you sure? Because you don't sound sure.
We may need to bolster our, for cleanliness of spirit, we may need to be very honest with ourselves and be in the truth of whatever our answer is. Like, no, and don't ask me again.
So that
Like-
right there, but is that, there's nothing wrong with that inherently
there's
for both
not.
parties? Because imagine, okay, the person who goes through it saying, sure, I'll do it, they're not operating in their optimal. And so both parties are suffering. We're not getting the best expression or version of this person. And then this person is just, this isn't the best use of their energy.
Yeah, but we've been taught a good little girl says yes.
Yeah.
A good little boy.
And be nice.
Yes. Be nice and say yes.
Get that out of here, man. Like, honor your truth. It's not for you.
Yes, we're at the end.
I'm like, yep, turn it up. Ah. Yeah, all right. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. This was a really great podcast. It was fun doing this with you, LaOta, as usual.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And running down memory lane. And
Yeah. And then all the people in the chat, you all also, you make this what it is. There's something about the synergy and the energy. So we encourage you to continue to tune in, chime in with us every Thursday, 12 noon. We go for about a solid hour and change. Your relevant comments can also keep this going as well. And if there's something you're interested in speaking about for us to cover, let us know. You know, we may take that of interest and bring that topic forward. And again, check out LaOta's One Mind class coming up second Tuesday. You can visit the Other Sun website or click the link in the description. Diane of the Sun, Inlakesh Studio One, she has her free book club this Friday, Power versus Force. You can catch me in DNA Activation on Wednesday, second week.
And we want to give a shout. Thank you so much for the numerology question, because we had not shared that with you.
Yeah.
So that's another gift
Kinda
to open.
hush hush.
We want to continue to be the gift that you continue to open. We want you to pull the ribbon off and see something fresh and new. Thank you so much.
We get a lot of thank yous in here. Malia, Cassidy, Erie's like, ooh, my birthday's coming up. Numerology would be the perfect way for self-study. Yes.
And I
Study
think it's
self.
what, $35 for the 80-page
Yeah,
report.
it's like
Yes.
$35. Yeah, so, all right, everyone. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and we leave you in Inlakesh and Veritas
With honor, respect, and gratitude. Thank you.